So here we are. This is the brand new Onn 4K streaming stick. Now this is Onn's answer to the Amazon Fire TV stick. This is a direct competitor when you look at the specs, the form factor, as well as what it has to offer. The price point is going to be similar as well. This is coming in around $38. Direct competitor, like I said, but I think this device is going to be a lot better. So I am going to definitely unbox it, put it through its paces, benchmark, streaming tests, network speed tests, all of that good stuff, as well as installing third-party applications. And of course, we're gonna see if we can add storage to this little guy during this review. So before we do, let's jump into some of the key specifications and features. So this is gonna have an improved, faster processor. It is gonna have voice control for Gemini, Google Cast, 4K UHD resolution, Dolby Atmos. As far as the CPU, we're gonna have a quad-core Cortex A55. The GPU is gonna be an ARM Mali G57, 2 gigs of RAM with 8 gigs of storage. And this is gonna have dual band at 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So this, like I said, is gonna be a direct competitor with the Fire TV stick. We know that Amazon just dropped the Fire TV HD, but this is actually a 4K device. So without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox it and see what it can do. All right, so like I said, I just reviewed the brand new Onn 4K Pro. This is the second generation. That is a solid device, definitely a must-have. So far, it is the best streaming device for 2026. And I'm doing some comparisons now, so definitely check those videos out when you get a chance. I'll go ahead and link them in the description. All right, so inside of the package, of course, we're going to have our quick start guide. Pretty much self-explanatory, but look at this presentation right here, all in a cardboard fitted box. Here's a stick. We'll put that to the side for now. As far as the other contents in the box, we are going to have 2 AAA batteries for the remote. Definitely appreciate that. You're also going to have an HDMI extender. So this comes in crucial, especially with these streaming sticks. We're going to have the remote. We'll take a look at that later. And we do also have the power plug, which is going to be a USB-C connection. So as far as the remote itself, this is going to be standard to what we see on the Onn devices. The Onn 4K Pro had the black version of this. The Onn 4K Plus had the exact same remote. Pretty self-explanatory. Up top, you're going to have your power, your favorites, your profile, Google Assistant settings, navigation right here. You're going to have your back, your home, your TV button, free TV button, volume up and down, mute, channel up and down. And as far as the quick launches, you're going to have YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, as well as Paramount Plus. So pretty standard. Let's get the battery in and see if this guy has a backlight. All right, so batteries are in. We're going to go ahead and get it dark a little bit. So no backlight on this guy. We did see backlight on the Onn 4K Pro 2. So that's one of those premium features that you're not going to see on some of these budget devices. Right, so here's the stick itself, and again, this is a pretty small device. This is great for just taking it on the road with you. So as far as what's on the device, USB-C on the back. Of course, this is going to be for power, but we are going to try an OTG adapter on here to see if we can add storage as well as some other accessories. So on this side, you can see that's a bump. That's an LED indicator. And on the opposite side, this is a pinhole, so you can go ahead and do a reset on this with a paper clip or something. So this is a reset pin. So reset, LED, USB-C, and of course the HDMI. Plug this guy in, plug into the TV, plug in the power, and you're ready to go. So let's go ahead and get it set up. All right, so as far as the basic setup, this is going to be the same experience that you get on any other Google TV device, whether it's the Google TV Streamer 4K, the Onn 4K Pro, Onn 4K Plus. Go through the basic setup, you connect your Wi-Fi, pair your remote. Once you do that, it will push an update as you saw there. So there was an update available. It did that. Then it came back, had you select your apps, go through the rest of the process, turn on Gemini if you choose to do so, and you're here in the user interface. Now I know that this is a smaller device, the specs aren't impressive, but just going through the different menus, guys, this is pretty fluid. So far, I'm surprised of how well this device just snaps through the menus, go through the different settings. I don't notice the difference between this and an ON 4K Pro or on 4K Plus. But before we test out some of the streaming features, let's go and see some of the settings and see what's available. Here's the device name. All right, it is running Android TV OS version 14, so that's the same version that we are running on the actual ON 4K Pro, the newer one, as well as the ON 4K Plus. As far as the storage, so internal storage is 8 gigs, as you can see there, 3.8 gigs available. So definitely want to see what our options are when it comes to storage. All right, so let's go through some of the features of this device. So of course, the start button on the top right of the remote, if you click on that, you're going to have some options to add your shortcuts. So we can do a favorite app, or we can go to a Google Home device from Google TV. But let's try the apps route. And let's say I want that smart button to open YouTube TV, because I don't have that as a shortcut on a remote. So we're going to create a shortcut, and now all we need to do is press that button, and you can see it now launch into YouTube TV. As far as some of the other buttons, we do have the TV guide button. So if I click on that, it is going to bring me into just my TV stuff, my live TV stuff. So you can see for YouTube TV, I have 81 channels. I have Google TV services, so different options there. That differs slightly from the free TV button. So if I was to click on the free TV button, it's going to bring me directly into Google TV Free Player. I personally think you can kind of integrate both of these, but Google is thinking otherwise. Now, of course, one feature that I show in all my reviews is just the apps only mode, which is going to be a great feature for any Google TV device. So the apps only mode is going to simplify everything, just gives you the apps that you want to see and none of the recommendations, none of the fluff. And to turn that on, you're going to go to your settings. You're going to go to your profile. So you're going to go to accounts and profile, click on your profile. Then you just scroll all the way down, apps only mode, turn that on. It's going to give you a warning. Go ahead and click turn on. And now just hit the home button. And it's going to do a thing. So for this is extremely useful for folks who just want to see the apps that you want to use. All it shows is the apps. You don't see the recommendations. It's just a lot cleaner in my opinion. Reminds me of an Apple TV user interface slightly. So definitely for folks that are looking for something that's simpler, this is a great way to go. How does it do on streaming? So at the heart, these are streaming devices. This is a 4K streaming device. So if I go to my settings, if I go to display and sound, and now if I go down to resolution, you can see I am streaming in 4K at 60 Hertz. Again, I love that this supports 4K. I just don't see a place in today's streaming for HD content. I'm sorry, 4K or nothing. Super smooth within Netflix itself. So what you expect from Netflix, essentially. What I can show you is just what we can do on YouTube. So let's go to YouTube. And here we are, guys. Buttery smooth 4K. Let's just go ahead and we'll check to make sure this is streaming in 4K. Sometimes it starts out in 1080p. So I'm just going to go to my settings. All right, you can see we are in 4K 2160. And you can see that just looks buttery smooth. Let's skip ahead a little bit. And you can see the stream is doing really well. I fully expect this not to be as smooth as we saw on the ON 4K Pro and the other more robust streaming devices, but nevertheless, I think it's doing fine. You can see we are streaming in 4K. We do have some drop frames. It's not too crazy, but overall, the stream is doing okay. The buffer health is okay, as well as the network activity. Of course, as far as some of the smart features, of course, let's go ahead and test them out. What is the temperature in San Francisco? All right, no issues there. Search M scooter review on YouTube. All right, so you can see it found all the scooters, including the recent one that I did a couple days ago. Check it out if you haven't done so already. Let's try something else. Skip ahead 2 minutes. All right, so that worked with no issues. So again, streaming device at heart. So you're gonna have a lot of features and a lot of availability. built in. Next thing I want to try is just the add storage. We are going to try to install third-party applications. A lot of folks want to know if Downloader is available. It should be. All you got to do is go to your app store, Downloader. All right, so you can see Downloader by AFTV News is there. You can download it. You can go through the traditional route of installing third-party applications. But in this video, I want to show you how to do it via USB. And it's a way for me to test the storage and see some of the options we have. Then we'll jump into the actual installation of third-party applications. So I am using an OTG adapter. This is USB-C OTG adapter. I do have 2 additional USB ports. So let's go ahead and plug in a drive and see what happens. All right, do I have a USB drive plugged in? It has the internal drive right there, and it does have the test. You can see it does have a total capacity of 31 gigs. When I click on it, it is going to give me the option to eject, or I can erase or format. So for anyone wondering if you can actually add storage to this device, yes, you can. If I was to click on erase and format, what it will do is it would combine that USB as an internal drive to the storage. Caveat is that it is going to erase everything, and this storage will now only be usable on this device. That option's there for you guys that are wondering, but for everyone else that'll just like to see content that's on this USB, or just to browse your videos or install applications, we're going to go ahead and install a file manager to try those different things. Scroll down, and I do have some files on here. I do have the 3D Mark APK. I do have IDA64, set orientation. Also have some videos on here. Before we install any apps or anything, let's try to see if we can play these videos. I know that sometimes it gets a little tough playing these 4K videos on this device or on certain devices, but let's go ahead and we'll give it a shot. All right, so you can see it's having some issues there, and this could be either one of 2 things. Either the device is just too much going on, it can't handle it, which I can totally see with 2 gigs of RAM, but also it could be the OTG adapter. So this is something that I'll definitely take a second look at. I'll try a couple more OTG adapters. Look like it will work, but it's having a hard time just kind of keeping up. All right, so we are going to try to install these applications, and yes, before we do that, I just wanted to show you how to unlock developer options on this device. So we'll give it a second there. We're going to go to our settings. We're going to go to system. We're going to click on about, and we're going to scroll all the way down to build. All right. And this is where you're going to tap the OK button 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're now a developer. Now if we go back 1 menu, we now have developer options. All right, so a lot of different settings within developer options. Again, this is where you go in, you really get under the hood. You can play with the different settings. You can change a lot of ways your device behaves. You can configure USB. So if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of changes under here to just make sure you can get the best out of your device. All right, so now we have developer options open. Let's go back into Explore. What this device sees as third-party apps, because it's not being installed from the App Store. So first we're going to try 3D Mark. All right, so I do notice that this device takes a lot longer to do certain tasks versus the Onn 4K Plus versus the Onn 4K Pro. Go to our settings. We are going to need to go in and make sure that Explorer can install apps from unknown sources. So click install. We are going to see another pop-up. All right, and we're going to click on more details here, and then we're going to install anyway. Again, this is one of the main differences between Google TV and the Fire Stick, because Amazon will just be like, you're not installing this. At least with Google TV gives you an option. All right, let's go ahead and we'll launch IDA64. Love it because it kind of gives you an insight of what's happening behind the scenes. So you can see the type right there. The board is Wayne, codename, hardware, as well as install RAM. 2 gigs of RAM. Total memory is 1882, and available is 612, which is not a lot. As far as the actual architecture, you can see it is running a 4-core Cortex A55. The max speed on this guy is 1.7 gigahertz versus about 2.5 to 2.7 on the Onn 4K Pro and Plus. So 64-bit chipset, but it is running in 32-bit mode, and you can kind of see the clock speed of each individual core. Display there is going to be 4K. The GPU is a Mali G57 and it is running at 60 Hertz. All right, so next I want to do a speed test, not to just test how fast this is going to run, because that's going to depend on the environment placement. But I specifically want to see what speeds I'm getting on Wi-Fi versus what I'm going to get on a wired connection using an OTG adapter. So let's go ahead and we'll open Analytics. We're going to test it first on Wi-Fi. All right, so I am connected via Wi-Fi. You can see the speeds are decent. I'm getting about 170, 167 megabits per second on the download. And we're going to get about 20, 21 on the upload. Let's go ahead and switch it over to wired connection via OTG adapter. All right, so as you can see, we are switched to Ethernet, and let's go ahead and test this out. All right, so that's actually a great sign, guys, that we are getting better speeds with an Ethernet to USB adapter over Wi-Fi. The fact that it's over 100 megabits per second just let you know that it's not limited. So it's going to depend on which OTG adapter you use. That's going to determine your maximum speed. So the last thing that we're going to test on this is the benchmark, just to kind of see where it stacks up. But let's run it and see where we end up. All right, so here we are with the benchmark score, and it actually scored a lot better than I expected, guys. So this scored a 960 overall. Just to give you some comparison, the first generation ONN 4K Pro scored about a 580. The Fire TV Stick 4K Max scored about an 850. The new ONN 4K Pro, as I mentioned, and also an ONN 4K Plus scored about a 1560. So let's wrap up this review. So this is a great device, and I'm going to give you some pros and cons. This is great for streaming, great for portability, great for having Google TV, great for having an alternative to the Fire TV Stick. It's going to do everything you want it to do. It's going to install your third-party applications. You can add your OTG adapter, add your Ethernet adapter, add your storage. So it's going to do everything that the other ONN devices can. Where this is going to lack is some of the power. So certain things we saw a struggle on. So we saw a struggle when it was trying to play content from the USB. We also saw sometimes where it took a little bit longer to load menus and stuff like that, but again, this is fully expected from a budget device. So as far as the price, you can pick this up for $39.98 on the Walmart website, and I'll put a link in the description of this device along with the ONN 4K Pro, the newer one, the second generation, as well as the ONN 4K Plus. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I know you guys probably want me to do a comparison to the Fire TV Stick, so let me know what you guys want to see. Also, if you want me to compare this to any other streaming device, let me know as well in the comments. Of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.